Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. Doing this video a little earlier than planned, which is going to be just going through, pretty much final team selection, predictions, captaincy choice, I think. Reason I'm going a little early, I was just watching some content over the last few days, and I think there is some stuff, particularly for those that aren't, because what I've realised with the setting up of the mini league, that there are some guys that are listening to me that I've not actually been playing very long, and I think there's some really good stuff to need to think about in terms of transfers and chip strategy. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit towards the end. First, some housekeeping. I don't think it was a complaint as such, but someone did mention it was a rather distracting background noise with Timmy the Turtle really going for it the last couple of videos. So I've given him some Valium, and he's promised to keep quiet today. Haven't really given him Valium. He's having a little sleep. Let's just get into it. Not going to be a long one. I think we know the format by now. Let's just get me out of the way. It is Spreadsheet City. Ooh, wrong one. Get that one. Here we go. And just put me up there. And I'll just go to the actual spreadsheet. Okay, hopefully that is clear for you guys there. So no real changes to the last conversation, rather than just really just sort of updating the spreadsheet, getting a clear picture. So as you can see there, it doesn't look too bad. You know, I really have had a, you guys know me by now, an itchy transfer finger. You know, wanting to bring in Bruno, wanting to bring in Mbeumo, just be done with it. I know I want them in, but I'm going to have a meta strategy, and the strategy is no hits, play myself out of this bloody hole I've dug myself into over the last few weeks, where I've dropped from 110k down to, I think it's just over 400k now. It's still not a million miles outside that top 100k, but I've got to claw my way back and stop taking these hits and doing silly things. As I say, I think after that Saka injury, and I saw a really well thought out strategy blown to smithereens, I started fiddling and diddling and doing daft things, and very little of it paid off. So I've got to get things back on track now. I don't think the team actually looks that bad. As a unit, Pickford, Hall, Gabriel, Trent, Salah, Palmer, Enzo, Gordon, Ahmad, Wood and Isak is showing an average of 70 points without captaincy over the last 5 game weeks. Now, as you all know, I do not include captaincy in my predictions, because you've got to have that fudge factor, like I had my triangle of Chelsea doom that had been going along nicely for weeks and then went blank and just threw the whole thing out kilter. So and even with the fudge factor of not including captaincy, numbers just went to pop the last few game weeks. So trying to get things back on track, trying to make sensible decisions, and trying to bring the right players in at the right time without taking hits. Things obviously you have to consider there are, and I'm going to talk a little bit more to this at the end. Is we have got some stuff coming up. We've got either in 24 or 25 we'll have the Liverpool double game week. Then in that'll be 24-25. That'll be Liverpool Everton double game week. Things I'm thinking about there is initially my plan was to dead end into that, build up some transfers, dead into that, and wild card out of it. I'm more thinking now, particularly just seeing the results last night, it looks as though it will be Newcastle will beat Arsenal. We're taking that 2-0 away win, so that looks like Newcastle could, but they'd be the hot favourites now to make it through. So currently I do have 3 Newcastle players, and I currently have 2 Liverpool players. But the good thing with Arsenal going out is that their game, if Arsenal do go out, their game against Chelsea would go ahead in that 29. So I'd have sort of five players effectively at the moment to consider, but I do want to bring in an extra Liverpool player. At some point I do want to try and have 3. Fundamentally what I'm going to try and do, just to cut to the chase, is I'm going to try and manage my way through without using my wild card. and I'll tell you why. Even if I ended up playing with 10 players, I think it would be worth it. But I'm hoping maybe if I can build up, like just get a couple of the transfers done I want. You know, my ideal would ideally be Milenkovic, Bruno, and Mbumo. But it's not possible to do that in 3 transfers. That is going to take 4 or 5, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do 4 or 5 transfers one by one and still have enough transfers going to 29. So I'm still thinking about this, and so a sacrifice will have to be made somewhere. Looking at the fixtures though, my fixture ticker, they don't actually look bad going up to 25. Shouldn't need to make too many changes. I think I can maybe at least get in Bruno or Mbemo. Talk about more about that later, but I think we were sold a little bit of a turkey right at the beginning of the season, to be honest with you, and I set out a strategy around that when there was a lot of noise from a lot of other content providers as well, and maybe they didn't realise as well that maybe it wasn't as rosy as it looked around the FA Cup fixtures and things like that, and there weren't going to be that many doubles, you know. So I use chips now. I used a chip strategy in the first 5, and I blew chips, let's be frank about it, trying to get a bit of a head start. Now my chips didn't actually work that brilliantly. That's a story for another day and lessons learned there. But I was never too worried about it because no, there's not going to be that many doubles. There's not going to be that many blanks. Well, they were wrong. We've obviously got this double coming up, you know, just because of the, you know, no one could have predicted it, but really should have planned for it a wee bit, because there's always going to be something happen. Obviously the Liverpool game against Everton getting cancelled, so we've got a double there. Then we're going to have, you know, pretty significant blank in 29 because the top teams made it through to the Carabao Cup semi-finals and final, as it is going to be one way or the other. So that's got to be considered. Then we're going to have, we could have possible doubles then in 33. And there could be an absolutely massive blank in 34. So, and then I think it will be 36, and that's where I'll be planning to use my assistant manager's chip for 36, 37, 38. Because there will be some more doubles coming up then as well from the FA Cup semi-finals. So that's going to be a really good time, I think, to use the assistant manager's chip, and looking for my plan anyways is you know, try and hang in there as close to that top 100k as I can, and then depending on where I'm at, just try and go for some big upside if I need big points to get into that top 100, or just a nice or if I haven't managed to get, fingers crossed, miracles, managed to get myself in that top 100, you know, maybe just do a nice safe chip strategy, you know, with a, you know, putting it on a slot, or whoever's got a double game week that's got lower teams below them. Those are stories for another day. The important thing here is, as I say, we need to really start thinking about the chips now. It's not as simple, I think, as it was made out as it was going to be at the beginning of the season, and it looks as though there's a minefield to get through. I'm going to leave a link to someone that will go through this a lot better than me. As I said, I'm doing this for fun, and it's sort of, you know, just setting up my strategy, and if you guys are getting something out of it and some of the things I talk about are useful, great. But as you've seen, I make God knows how many mistakes, you know, and hopefully next year I'll have learned from those and do a bit better. Not doing awfully bad, I suppose. In 400k, it's a hell of a lot better than I was doing last year, but I was just messing around last year. But I'm going to leave a link to FPL Harry's, probably my favourite pundit out there. It's probably is. He delivers really good information, and he actually did do a chip strategy thing. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are more experienced have been, you know, have already got your sort of thought about these things and bits of plans around it. But I think for some of you guys that are, you know, maybe you haven't played as regularly or as seriously, FPL Harry would be the guy to have a listen to. He did a really good video this morning. I think it's well worth a listen to, and it gave me some reasonable thoughts as well around what I want to do, and it has changed my approach in that I am going to, as much as possible, see if I can get away with going into the blank game week 29 just with 5 transfers going in, so I can do 2 or 3 transfers going in and do 2 or 3 transfers going out, and I'll bench my Salahs. I'll bench the ones where I've got a lot of money tied up in, like a Salah. I don't think at this stage I need to worry about Palmer, but yeah, certainly where I've got big money tied up, which would be, you know, Salah's the obvious one that springs to mind. You know, get them on the bench, and maybe 1 or 2 transfers, so I've got hopefully 11, but certainly 9 or 10, a decent team going out, and then I can just transfer back in the assets that I want post the blank. So just a bit of a pointer there for you guys. I will leave a link to this. Have a listen to FPL Harry. I think he did a really good video on this morning, and he's still working with information, of course, that we don't know yet. We don't know who is going to be in the Carabao Cup final. At the moment, my money would be on, it will be Newcastle. So if you've got 3 Newcastle assets, you need to think about that. And Tottenham 1, Liverpool 0. I still think Liverpool would probably turn that around. My money would be on Newcastle, Liverpool, but we don't know yet. But just have that little bit in your mind as you're doing your transfers, and maybe think about bringing in assets if you're making transfers that aren't going to be affected by the cup. Although we still need to think about, do we want to get 3 Liverpool in for what should be a double game week in 24-25. So just a few things for you to think about there. Back to the business of the day, which is just my team. The averages there don't look too bad. Pickford, fine. He's my set and forget keeper now, and unless something goes really badly astray there, he's just going to be in for the season now for me, and I'm just not going to mess around with my keepers anymore. Hall, very happy with. Great fixtures coming up, and his averages are fantastic. Hopefully Newcastle can get a nice few clean sheets, and he can get an attacking return or 2 this week, but in the next few game weeks. Maybe I do need to think about taking out Hall at some point. Maybe that would be my Milenkovic, but really I want to free up money, which is most likely going to come from probably taking out Timber, I suspect. We'll see, we'll work it out. Gabriel, fine. Gabriel's going to go nowhere. Unless something again happens to Gabriel, I'm just not going to transfer him out, because I know the second I would do anything with him, he's going to bang in a goal or 2 and keep a load of clean sheets, and he'll be up there in the top 2, 3, 4, possibly even number 1 defenders at the end of the season, in my opinion. Trent's obviously the big worry at the moment, but that was a shocker of a performance against United, but the week before it was, we've got to get Trent in. I was one of them, and I thought against that United defence he'd do big things. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he'll go to Madrid. He came on this morning and actually looked good. He looked good in that game again. So I don't think we can judge a player on one game. Fixtures for the most part are reasonably good, and at the moment, with my change of mind at the moment, trying to save transfers, I think at this point I probably will. There is cash tied up obviously in there. I'm thinking maybe would I bring in Canate, but it uses a transfer, and even looking at Canate's last 5 fixtures, which is obviously the last one he played, just further down in my wish list. You can see actually his numbers weren't particularly fantastic when he was, which is pre his injury. Now that may change. There's some really good fixtures there for Liverpool after this Forest one in particular, with Brighton, Ipswich, Bournemouth and Wolves. I may go there. It does free up a big block of cash, but I'm going to give Trent a run. I'm going to give him a run. Bradley started this morning, and it didn't go so great, and he came on and Trent came on. So I think Trent will be starting in the next game anyways, and hopefully going forward, because there's a nice little sea of green there, and then it would mean I'd still have him for the double. Palmer's ticking along relatively nicely. He's got his averages. Salah's there at an average of 12. Obviously nothing to see there. I don't think I'm going to captain Salah, by the way. Just looking at sort of the pattern of his points, there are 2 big holes there. Then in between those, you've got your 5s, your 9s, and your 7s. Great numbers, do not get me wrong. But has Isak, I think that's where I'm going, got a better chance of a haul against Wolves at home. I think that's where I am going to go. Haven't seen any surveys or anything yet. I suspect Salah will still be the don't bet against Salah brigade will be there. So I think he will have probably a little bit more. So maybe it's a point. Maybe it's a chance to gain some traction, but you'll note in the Carabao Cup match 2-0, he got his goal, Murphy got his assist, and Gordon got his goal. Is it time for a Newcastle triple up on attack? No, not with that potential blank coming. I think I'll just stick with me my Hall and my Gordon and my Isak for now, and potentially in my transfers for that blank, maybe move Hall out, bring someone in, and then bring Hall back. Story for another day. Yeah, Palmer fine, and it's a decent fixture at home to Bournemouth. Let's hope we can get Palmer Hall. It'd be nice to get a Palmer Hall, wouldn't it? And I don't think there'll be too many captain armbands on him, so it shouldn't hurt too much if he gets a decent score this week. Enzo, yeah, I mean he's obviously my big worry, but I have had another thought about this. Those fixtures are really, really good. I do need to think about where I do my transfers. And trying to build up a few. Those fixtures are pretty good. We'll see how he goes in this game week. It'd be lovely to see him get a goal and assist, something just to start rebuilding a bit of faith in him. But this little run of Chelsea form, poor form, and him not scoring, it came over that sort of Christmas period. Chelsea had a lovely rhythm going. Pre the real busyness of Christmas and the double game, the midweek games and all sorts of things going on. They had their Premier League team that went out and played, and then they had their whatever European competition they're in, Confederacy Cup thing, where they play a second string, a strong second string. Still some players from the first team in there. But Palmer wasn't playing, Enzo wouldn't be playing. They had a nice balance going, and I think that rhythm got shifted with all the fixtures that came up over Christmas. We should be shifting back into that pattern again, and it will be interesting to see if Enzo does rediscover his form for assists and goals. All I need is just 5 or 6 points out of him at 5.1 million, as an average. Now at the moment he's dropped right down to 2. But those are nice fixtures. Wolves, Bournemouth at home. And it buys me a little bit of time so I can roll a couple of transfers to look and make a decision on whether I'm broke. Because I don't want to bring Mbomo in with City at home and Liverpool away. But then there's a nice little Crystal Palace, Tottenham, West Ham. We've got Bruno there. Some decent fixtures. And I would prefer to bring in Bruno, I think. But he is a bit more expensive. There's a bad desert that just take hits and bring him in for this Southampton fixture. I'm not going to do that. We're going to try and build up a couple of transfers and try, as I say, and manage my way out of this bit of a hole I've dug myself over the last few weeks. Because of course I have got Ahmad, who has broken his little duck. Was unlucky not to have 2 goals indeed against Liverpool. Surely he can get me something against Southampton. I mean, I would say for Ahmad, there could be some ball potential there. I live in hope. Back to Gordon, yeah. Gordon's looking really, really good. Now, as if I really was wanting to take a punt, Gordon is not a bad outside bet for a haul in this match against Wolves at home. He's looking sharp. He could have had 2 goals in his last match and an assist against Wolves at home, who are really, really poor defensively. They'll have Cunha back. Wolves will attack. There will be spaces. It is actually tempting as a real differential. I will write this down as a prediction. He will be +10. Gordon will be +10. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's around 15 at the end of this game week. Do I take that punt though? Nah, I think the safe money is on Isak. I actually feel safer with Isak than I do with Salah this week. Whether I'm right on that, time will only tell. So up front it gets a little bit trickier with Wood. Well, just with Wood. Isak is obviously great. Liverpool home. Now, I thought, do I bench Wood and play Watkins? But I don't even know if Watkins is going to start. Obviously, with Duran been back, and Everton's not an easy fixture. Going away to Goodison Park at the moment. So it's a little bit undecided. I think I'm just going to go with Wood. I think I'm just going to take the punt because I think it could be an interesting differential. Because Nottingham Forest are a decent side. They will get a chance or two. Wood only gets a chance or 2 every match. He's just that sort of striker at the moment. He'll get a chance or 2 and he will put one in. And I thought Liverpool defensively didn't look great against United at all. Particularly Trent. Konate's coming back. I think that will improve them a bit. But as I said, looking at Konate's numbers when he was playing before his injury, they weren't that great. Well, actually poor defensively for Liverpool. So I don't think there's any guarantee really of Liverpool keeping a clean sheet. If they do, I guess great. I'll get a clean sheet out of Trent, but I'd ideally like an attacking, yeah, a score out of Trent. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to play Wood. I think I'm just going to just roll the dice on this one. As I say, so the median there, the top as a unit, last 5 game weeks these players have played, 78, and at the bottom end, Sod's Law I caught it badly last week with the 57. The median there is 67. So I'm making 67 my prediction. I always go for the low one, the average or the median. So I'll make 67 my prediction. I really would like to get a lot more than that. I could really do with an 80 or something this week, just to start to claw back some of that deficit and get my averages up again. But I wouldn't be horribly disappointed with a 67 either. But it needs and do need to start getting up on that 70 average again, and just seeing a few of those tick in. And then the following week, you can see there's a nice sea of fixtures there, which will hopefully enable me to roll, because I will need 2 transfers, because Watkins is my cash cow. I think that will go, and that will allow me to bring in either Mbemo or Bruno. The question then I asked myself then, I had intended to really just shave Watkins down to a nothing. Literally just, absolute bench fodder, sitting on the bench, maybe not even a non-playing forward for 4.4 to free up as much cash as possible. But if I am moving towards this wanting to play through that game week 29 without having to wildcard out of it, so going with a few transfers, I think I need to keep an eye on a few potential strikers that are not involved in that double game week. In that blank game week. A few that I'm looking at. Numbers are not particularly impressive at the moment. You see, I've got Wizard in there again, because at 25 those fixtures actually take their fixtures turn again. And Wizard was doing well for me when I had him, and then he hit a bunch of blanks and I took him out, and he looks as though he's regained a bit of form. Had that nice 11-pointer last week. Could potentially be one to bring back in a few weeks' time, and that will give me hopefully enough cash, depending on price changes, etc. Mateta is another one, but I don't know. There's good fixtures there, and then he's a bit, the price is right. And it will get me through, as I say, a decent player and a decent fixture to take me through the blank. So those are the thoughts. But the main thing is, team for this week. That is it. Captain's armband is on Isaac. I will post a link for anyone that wants to have a look to FPL Harry. Yes, I said he is, in my opinion, one of the best FPL content providers out there. He does really good content, and you can see the positions that guy gets season on season. Absolutely ridiculous, extraordinarily consistent. So he's well worth a listen to for you, those of you that don't know him. And the other one as well, I think, which is really good to watch as well, is FPL Mate, and I'll put a link in there as well. I looked at that this morning. That was quite useful for me as well. I was sort of looking at the fixture tickers and who's got what and who's doing what, and expected goals and all that sort of stuff. FPL Mate, it's actually almost required viewing for me on a weekly basis, which is his keep, sell, buy, avoid. Really worth a look. 10-15 minutes of your time to have a flick through that, if you're sort of wondering about transfers, etc. So I'll put a link to that as well. And finally, lastly but not leastly, we've got a few people suggested to set up the mini league. So it is done. Some people are already joined. I will leave a link to that in the video description as well. So come on board. Let's have a bit of fun. Well, I'll give it a little review on a weekly basis, for who's got the gold medal and who's got the silver medal and who's got the bronze, or team of the week or something. I'll make it up as I go along. You know me. That's it, guys. Don't think I'll be back before deadline. I'm pretty sure I've made my decision on captaincy. Where are you going? Or are you going for a real differential when the week is going to be split? Let me know. Thanks so much, guys. Loving the conversations, loving the messages. Really enjoying this. Really appreciate it. Everyone that subscribed to me. Thanks, guys. Have fun. Play your own game. Don't panic. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.